Thanks for joining us again on TK's Travels. Our next stop is Lake of the Ozarks State Park. I really liked our campsite here. We had a nice big campsite. We didn't have any close neighbors, plenty of room for the hammocks, and everything we wanted. We also had some deer show up right after we set up our campsite, and we were really amazed at how close this deer got. But as you'll see later in the video, we see a lot of deer. Even though we were here for 4 days, we only did 2 trails. One was the Hidden Springs Trail. It's one of the equestrian trails at the park. We really enjoyed it. You do have to keep an eye out for horse manure on the trail, but we did have a lot of fun. Sunil was pretty much always lagging behind.
Do you have a rock in your shoe?
Daddy, yes.
Okay, let's stop and take it out.
The good thing is we always get to take a little break while we wait for him to catch up.
Hey, you know what I call them? Rattlesnake?
What do you call a rattlesnake?
My rocket snake.
The kids really enjoyed spending time at the lake, and one interesting fact that we found out about Lake of the Ozarks is that the shoreline of the entire lake is longer than the shoreline for the entire state of California. Once Sunil was done pulling Lila around the lake, it was Lila's turn to pull Sunil. There are no showers at the lake, but there is this really great bathhouse that was built by the CCC and the WPA in the 30s, and it looks right out onto the lake. After the lake, the kids were ready for a mango eating contest.
Why you think that you will win the contest?
Because I'm very hungry.
Lila, why you think you will win the contest?
Because Sunil's a slow eater anyway.
Who won yesterday?
Me. You still had a little bit left on.
Yeah, Dad.
This time, Lila was the fastest, but Sunil definitely won an award for messiest.
Let me see your face. Let me see your hands.
A campfire always means s'mores, and the kids are usually a little bit impatient and end up burning 1 or 2, but sometimes we'll get a really good one, and this one was no exception. We did also hike the Coakley Hollow trail. That was a mile-long loop right before we went into the Ozark Caverns. It's right next to the caverns, and it's a lot of fun. There's a couple of different bridges. 2 of them are a suspension style bridge, and then there's a couple of wood bridges as well. The suspension bridges felt a little rickety, but they were really solid. The kids had a lot of fun crossing them. Be sure to pick up a trail guide before you get on the trail. There's 7 or 8 different spots where you can learn about the habitats and vegetation along the trail. The kids had a lot of fun on this trail. Once the trail was over, we did grab a little picnic lunch at the tables that they had right at the trailhead, and then we went to the Ozark Caverns. The kids had an amazing time in the caverns. They got to see different wildlife in the caverns. There were no bats, but they had a great time. It was about a 1/4 mile trip in, and then we headed back. Really worth the trip. One of our favorite things about Lake of the Ozarks State Park was the deer. They were everywhere. You'd see 1 or 2 during the day, but right between 6 and 8 o'clock, they would all come out, and they would graze right by the campsites. As a kid, my brother and I were never scared of frogs, lizards, spiders, but my kids, they don't really get that in touch with nature. So whenever we see something like a frog or a turtle or a spider or worm, I like to let them stop and appreciate them. Lake of the Ozarks did not disappoint. There were all kinds of animals everywhere, and we got to be really good at picking out the tiniest of creatures. We also went to a naturalist-led talk about snakes. She let us touch a grass snake that they had there, and Meg was really informative, telling us the difference between venomous and non-venomous snakes. And now for one of my favorite parts of the video, it's campsite awards. Lake of the Ozarks had several amazing campsites, so it's going to take a few minutes to go through them all, but I hope you bear with me. In section 1, the best overall campsite was 23. It was nicely shaded. It had a concrete pad. And it was going to be the most private campsite that had electricity. It's not too far from the bathroom either, and it's got a great view of the woods. In section 2, the campsites with the best view are going to be 36, 39, 40, 42, 44, and 46. They were all on the side of the lake, and so it looked like maybe during the winter the trees would thin out a bit and you'd have a view of the lake, but right now you can't really see them. A lot of the sites are also gravel pads, so you do have to be aware of that if you prefer a concrete pad for your camper. Of all of these spots, 36 was going to be the most private. It's right at the end of the thing, but it does have a gravel pad.
And this is site 49 here. In section 3, this is going to be another one that was really close to the showers, but it's not private at all because it's completely open as you come up. And pretty much because things are one way, every single person that goes to section 3 or section 4 has to pass your campsite. But there's the shower building right there. So if you want to be close to the showers in section 3, I would recommend sites 95 or 96. Those are going to be much more private than 49. Alright, site number 50 is going to be the most private in section number 3. It's the picnic table and the fire pit are quite a ways away, but it is a pull-through site with full electricity, and it's fairly close to the bathrooms. It's not too far away from the bathroom, so it's a nice site. 51, 62, and 67 are family sites in section 3. These sites are going to be really nice if you've got a large group. You need 2 campers together. They are set up as family sites. They've got 2 picnic tables, 2 fire pits apiece. And here's 62. This is the second of the family sites in section 3. Just like the others, it's got 2 pads, 2 picnic tables, 2 fire pits. Here is 67. It's the last of the 3 family sites. Any of these would be great for a large group. If you have a large enough group, though, the best 2 sites to get together are going to be 62 and 67. That's going to give you 4 pads, 4 picnic tables, and they're side by side.
The most private campsite is going to be number 89. It's got a pull-through site, and the picnic table and the fire pit are on the back side of that pull-through site, and it's definitely one of my favorites. 95 was our campsite, and I really liked this campsite. There was plenty of room for our hammocks, and it was really close to the bathroom. It's just right across. It is not as private as 96. 96 is definitely a more private site than our campsite was, but both of them were really great sites. Just like section 1, section 4 had a great playground area really close to the bathrooms. Any of the sites near the playground are going to be great if you have small kids. They've got good access to the bathrooms and really nice shaded sites. In section 4, there were several amazing sites with lake views. 139, 140, 141, 155, and all the way through 166 had great views. 167 was a family site, and 174 through 178 were in a private section of section 4, and so you're not going to get a lot of through traffic. They were really nice and private. 178 was definitely the most private from all of those, but they all had great views of the lake. And now for the down and dirty. The dump station is right next to the exit, so you don't have to drive through different campsites to get to the dump station. It's literally as you exit the camp area. As always, if you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up. To follow along our ventures, hit the subscribe button, and thanks for watching.